Hello, my name is Brian. Today we're going to talk about the prompt hierarchy. There are 6 types of prompt. We have a visual, a verbal, a gestural, a model, and a physical. Now with this, there's also least to most, which starts at the least intrusive prompt and moves toward the most intrusive prompt. We have the most to least, which starts at the most intrusive, which is the physical, and then moves toward the visual prompt. Now, a prompt itself is a cue which helps a person learn or perform an action. As I said, there are 6 types of prompts. So a visual prompt is exactly what it sounds like. This is a picture or a graphic that shows a person the correct response and how to do an action or a task. A verbal prompt is just what it sounds like. It uses words to help guide a person, to show them how to get the correct action. A gestural prompt is use of pointing or body action to show someone like what they need to do. Next we have a model prompt. And a model prompt is acting out the action so the person performing the action can see exactly how it's done. Finally, we have a physical prompt. There's 2 parts to a physical prompt. So you either have a full physical, which uses hand over hand, or you have a partial physical, which uses more like a guiding type action. Now I'm going to demonstrate how these different prompts work and kind of give an example of each one. So first, we have a physical prompt. So a physical prompt would be taking someone's hand, if I wanted this glass on the plate, grabbing the glass like this, taking my hand on their hand in a hand over hand action, and moving it to the plate to get the correct action. Now, next we have a model prompt. So a model prompt is me acting out an action so the person who's trying to learn the skill or the activity can see exactly how the skill is performed in the actual step. So if I was going to model how to put this glass on the plate, I would take the glass like this and set it on the plate like that. This teaches a student exactly how to do it and shows them the exact steps that are needed. Next, we have a gestural prompt. So a gestural prompt would be to point at something or to give someone a body language or emotion to do something. So if I need to put the cup on the plate, I would point at the plate, the cup, the plate, and so the student could put the cup on the plate. The next one is called a verbal prompt. A verbal prompt is exactly what it sounds like. A verbal prompt is just using words to describe the action or the skill that which you would like performed. So, example of a verbal prompt would be saying, could you put the glass on the plate? And then the student puts the glass on the plate. So, the last one is, so these prompts are used to teach people skills. We have 2 types of prompts. So there's the most to least and the least to most. So the most to least guarantees that the person is going to get the correct action. It starts with a full physical, then moves toward a model, moves into a gestural, to a verbal, and then to a visual. This guarantees that the student performing the skill will perform all the steps correctly. And as the student learns the steps, the prompt is then faded out. To go from least to most starts on the opposite side of the scale. So least to most starts with the visual, and it moves to the verbal, to the gestural, onto the model, to the physical. This doesn't guarantee that the student can get all the steps correctly. So it's not going to guarantee that they cannot get it wrong. Whereas the other one, you start with one and then you move on the other way. This one starts at the least and moves toward the most. The most to least is really good when teaching a task. So once again, we have the thing with putting a cup on a plate. You start with this, which guarantees the person is not going to mess up the action. If they understand that, next it moves to a model. So then you would model the action for the student. If the student understands that, then you would move on to a gesture. So you're moving from the least intrusive prompt to or from the most intrusive prompt to the least intrusive prompt. And as the student gets through the steps, the one step is stated out. Now, prompts are very helpful for, as I said, teaching people skills, because it's a cue that gives a person an idea of what they need to do. Prompts are really effective when working with kids with autism, and they're an effective teaching tool that we constantly use. Well, this is what I got on prompts. Thank you for listening.